Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. I'm super excited to have this. We got a special edition of the Roundtable Remedies tonight. And I really want you to just vibe in. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something special. We're going to be talking about luck versus opportunity. And we have some amazing speakers tonight. And as you're all coming in, don't go anywhere because tonight is very intentional. And I want to welcome everybody in. Welcome, Felicia. How are you feeling today? What's going on through your mind? I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about you're somewhere pleasant. I like to think of the beach. And you're in the water. And I want you to think that you're with somebody that you really care about. And as you're loving the water and you're enjoying it, the water is just pulling you in. And as the water is pulling you in, you notice how far you're getting. And you start to see that special person in your life start to struggle. And you start to panic. And the one thing that comes into your mind is, I need to save that person. But because you're so deep into the ocean, you risk your own life. And you pray. And you pray, God, please help me. Help us. And in that very instant, a wave just pushes you forward and your special significant other. And it pushes you so far, you reach the sand. And now open your eyes. This was a personal story of Chaz Tedesco, who supports the Unblinded movement and is a co-founder and works with one of our speakers today, Fernando. And when I personally was exposed to the Unblinded movement, I was taken back to see the energy, feel the energy, and relate with these stories. Have you been feeling unlucky? Have you been praying about something that just really hasn't been going your way? Tonight we're going to talk about it. Share your story. Tonight's speakers, they represent not only their stories, their passions of what they've been going through, but these are leaders in their communities that were brave enough to weather the storm and all the adversity. And I'm going to be allowing them to just say who they are, where they're calling from in speaker rotation. And I'm super excited. So we want to hear you engage. This is super intentional. Please drop a hi, a like, a comment. Jerome, please tell us where you're calling from.
I'm in Newark, New Jersey right now.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Can you tell us a little bit about your organization with Hustle?
Oh, H for Hustle is first I started off as a podcast, but the goal was to inspire early stage entrepreneurs to, quit that corporate 9-to-5 and start their own thing. The goal is to inspire. The first step I started off was just inspiring people. The next step is to educate. And then after education is like, now it's time for you to run and go flourish on your own.
That's awesome. Fernando dropped off. We'll get him on in a minute. Michael, with what you're doing with, your True Live, your True Living Tribe is quite remarkable. And watching you grow and watching interact with your members and the leaders, I think that, it's truly remarkable. And I just want to give you the opportunity to just say where you're calling from and, a little bit about, what you're doing.
Sure. So thank you so much for having me on the show, Anthony. I'm calling from Hunterdon County, New Jersey, right across the Delaware River here. And yes, I'm super grateful to be here, and super grateful for for you and everybody that's watching. Hey, everybody.
You know, yeah, we definitely want to say hello to everybody because this is the reason why we want to put these together. And we're continuing the theme, on the Roundtable Remedies of Take the Challenge. And for those that don't know, my name is Anthony Rosa. They call me Mr. Remedy, and I put this together to, really allow people to, talk about what they're going through, talk about their struggles, talk about some of their pain points, but also talk about, how they're able to get through it. And I think that there has to be a story told. And I'm reading this book, and it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to read this book, but there was a story about a man who sold meat. And he was going through a tough time, and he was in the on a trip to a new village. And at night, in the story, it talks about that the village gates were closed, and outside there was a man who sold sheep. And the man that was selling sheep, was saying, listen, I'll give you a really good deal. I'll give you the best deal ever. I'll give you all my sheep for like a third of what it's worth. But the problem was it was dark out. And the person that sold meat was, it's impossible for me to count all these sheep. I I would like to wait for the morning, and then I'll count the sheep, and then I'll give you the money. And so the person goes, look, I can't wait for the morning. I have to be somewhere, you know, just give me a deposit. I'll leave one of my, people here. You'll count it. You'll give him the money. You could trust him, and then he'll be on his way. Mike, what do you think happened? Did he give him the money or did he not?
Mm. Well, that's a. I try not to think, Anthony, but I would say it sounds like he's getting set up for to kind of have the wool pulled over his eyes a little bit. So I would say maybe, yeah, no, probably. I would say he probably gave him the money, and yeah, probably gave him the money and walked away.
Okay. Jerome, what do you think? Did he give him the money, or
I,
did he say, did he
I
wait
think he
until the
did.
morning?
I think he gave him the money and waited till the morning to count all the rest of the sheep. But I think he took a chance of faith and went for it.
Yeah, and Anthony, before we move on, right? So that would depend on how many of the sheep you can count. Because I'd
I
only
think
give enough money that I knew I was covering the sheep that I could see.
if I open to it, you know, I think he was talking about like it was like 300 sheep, and I think he counted like 100, but it was impossible to like see them all because sheep crowded together. It's so hard to see. What do you guys think? That the story, real quick, for anybody jumping in late, we're talking about there was a person in the book called The Richest Man in Babylon, which we're talking about tonight, continuing the theme of Take the Challenge on luck versus opportunity. And was this man, lucky enough to have the opportunity of a lifetime to, as a meat seller, to get a big purchase and the opportunity to make a lot of money? You guys want to know the answer?
Yes, I would love to know what the answer is.
So he did not give him the deposit, and he went to sleep. He woke up late, and by that time, the gates opened. Now, what this poor man did not know was that in this village, there was a famine. And they had no meat. So when the gates opened, there was people trying to run out literally to buy the meat. And in fact, the person that was selling the sheep, unfortunately, he had to wait, but he ended up selling the sheep 4 times more than what he would have got had he sold it the night before.
See, that's what happens when
So
you don't take a chance on faith.
I
That's
I
why
gave the guy the deposit.
I would have given the deposit and be like, let me get as much sheep as I can right now.
Well, and I think it kind of leads to the conversation of like leadership, leadership and faith, where it's like, are you going to look at an opportunity and say, what's from that look, I like to use this example, right, Anthony? When somebody says you have so much potential, you can hear that as, oh, they don't believe in me. Or you could hear it as, man, they really believe in me. And both of them you can derive from that statement. So I think that exactly what you're talking about right there is definitely one of the key distinctions in being a real leader, particularly in the entrepreneurial space, but just at large. There's everything. There's either every time there's a problem, a quote unquote problem, on the other side of it is an opportunity of growth where you can exponentially increase what's going on. So I would say that, that's a great example there for leadership. Are you going to bet that things are going your way, or are you going to bet that things aren't going to go your way? And I would say how you do anything is how you do everything. And so anybody that's listening from that, I mean, boom, look at that. When was the last time in your life that something showed up and you had that 50-50 split? And just consider that it's happening all the time. And are you betting for yourself, or are you betting against yourself? Are you a victim, or are you a visionary?
now, of course, I see that Felicia's just, she's been interacting with us. So, Felicia, imagine, what would you have done? I wonder, would you have paid the man without fully counting and maybe losing out, or would you have given the man the money for the deposit for the sheep? And today's, topic of, that one shot, one opportunity, right? To seize everything that you ever wanted. Would you capture it or just let it slip? And I think that he let it slip. So
Yeah.
what I want to do is, Jerome, we have some more time right now. And so I want to kind of allow you to tell us one story about what was a time that you lost an opportunity, and how did it help you prepare for now?
All right, thank you. So the story that I have is very early in my cleaning company. I would say year 2. We were self-funded. We self-funded most of this whole thing, and we got to a point where we couldn't grow beyond a certain point. Like, we weren't making enough money to keep self-funding this whole thing, so we needed an infusion of cash. We needed a loan. I went and asked all my family members and all my friends and everyone I knew, and everyone said no. And there was this one real estate agent that was our client, and very early on he had said, if you guys ever need like some cash or a loan, come back and talk to me. So we set a meeting with him. We sat down and we told him what the business was, and he was like, all right, so where's your financials? Let me see your work. Let's go and we were not prepared whatsoever. We did not have good financial records. We did not have our taxes all sorted out. We didn't have anything. We were just young kids trying to build a company. And he said, I respect what you guys are trying to do here, but you don't really have a business. You have a hobby that you guys are pretending is a business. And that was just like a gut punch, straight to the gut. And I was like, what do you mean? I work 16-hour days. We clean like crazy. Like, I have a true business here. And he's like, not on paper, you don't. And he's like, if you're expecting to get anyone's money, you're going to have to make sure that your paperwork is done right and done well. And that has changed my perspective going forward ever since. After that, we took all the money that we had left and invested in a good accountant and got all of our paperwork, all of our taxes, everything done well. A year and a half later, we went back to him. He said no. He still said no, but he forwarded on to us to someone else that gave us our first like $20,000 cash infusion. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, is this, like, making sure that you know your numbers and you know your business on the front end and the back end, because I knew it from cleaning and how to run a cleaning company, but I had no idea the paperwork and the back end side of it. So know your numbers, know your financials is a big thing that I carry on to this day. And every time I speak to early stage entrepreneurs, that's something I'm like, what, know your numbers, know everything about your business, from the front and the back end. Because a lot of times we get caught up knowing if you run a catering company, you're a good cook and you know everything about cooking and you know how to provide a great service for your customer, but on the back end it's just messy as all hell, and that kills a lot of people moving forward. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, and it was such a gut punch because we thought we had this thing wrapped up and we had the business ready to go, but we clearly didn't know what we didn't know at the time.
I mean, you bring up a point. It's hard to know what you know, and then it's hard to know what you don't know, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's why you get the right people on your team and you delegate some of these things. Because I'm not the smartest person in the room, but as of lately during this pandemic, I do find myself in a lot of different rooms and learning from different people, like your platform, as well as Michael's platform. And it's amazing that as a business owner, I can go onto different platforms and meet these people and kind of talk about my pain points and learn from one another. And I think that knowing your numbers and knowing what you're getting into, I mean, that's step one, that you should really figure out.
I
Thanks
do
for
have to
sharing.
preface this though. We were 19-year-old kids starting a business, so we had no clue. I'm like, we're inner city kids that barely graduated high school, so we just didn't know what we didn't know.
Of course. So, Michael, I truly appreciate you being on, and I want to say thank you. You've been super supportive, and vice versa. I love what you do as far as like getting really into the minds and in the weeds. But I do know your personal story, and you've shared that with us on previous Roundtable Remedy shows. So, for those that want to know a little bit more about Mike, please feel free to join our group, go into some of the videos, check the videos out. You're going to see their flyer pictures and their faces. But, what was a time that you lost an opportunity, and how did it prepare you for now?
Ooh, great question. What was a time that I lost an opportunity and how did it prepare me for now? All right, so I'm going to be totally honest, Anthony. One of the habits that I really live by is recognizing that everything is a learning opportunity. That my focus at times will go to when I'm in a painful state, my focus at times will go to where I need to pay attention to learn the next lesson to move me forward. And so to circle back, I mean, everything has really turned into an opportunity. That being said, on the other side of that, just like we were previously stating, everything has really taught me to turn everything into an opportunity, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, for example, we're launching a massive summit here. This weekend, we have an incredible summit going on that we just today literally moved. I mean, we have Grammy Award winning people. We have people from all over the world coming into this summit, and it's really incredible. I mean, I'm there with all kinds of peers, and it's on the radio, it's all over, and people have been hearing about it here. And we moved the summit. We moved a mountain. Now, some people would say, well, geez, can you imagine moving all those speakers and the whole 9 yards? Well, yeah, and we did it. And not only did we do it, we did it. We capitalized on it. We increased the value of the product for the people that are consuming it. We built better relationships with the speakers. I mean, we literally took what seemed like a challenge. How are we going to launch this? And then said, how are we going to turn this into an opportunity? So very practically speaking, we had all these speakers coming in there, and the speakers are sending out their email lists and they're promoting, and everybody's all over the place. But there's a lot of distracting conversation right now in the media. And so we said, well, you know what? Like, how fair would it be? I mean, these people have been looking forward to this. How fair would it be for us to not give them everything that we have to make it happen for them? So what we did is we said, all right, we're going to push it back 10 weeks. So we pushed it back 10 weeks. And then we said, all right, so this weekend, we're going to give everybody the opportunity to record content. And then we're going to package it up. And everybody that buys a ticket between now and the event is going to get this recorded content, which is like, what? So if you think about it, it doesn't matter what you're doing. When on the other side of every seeming problem is an opportunity for growth. And if you just if you recognize that you're the decision maker, whoever's watching this, you're the decision maker of your life. And the biggest thing, I said earlier, you're either a victim or a visionary. You're either at the point of a decision and you're going to turn into the victim and try to have somebody else be responsible for the outcome. Or you're going to own that it's your decision, that it's your life, and that you're the one, you're the chosen one. And you're going to empower yourself and the people around you that create a win-win situation for everybody involved. And I think that we look at things like as if it's not a right now phenomenon. Like everybody that's watching this has an area inside of their life in which they really want to change. They really want to transform. Maybe it's a little bit painful. And if you look at that area of your life and you acknowledge and honor that that the pain there is a teacher, it's your opportunity to learn something, to get to the other side of the conversation of the story about what's going on, and really own that there's an incredible opportunity. Then I think if we all live that is possible every time we hit a problem, then it begins to create a mindset shift.
Hold on. I love the mindset shift on turning the opportunity into a win-win by Stephen Covey. But help me reconnect this back, Michael. I'm not talking about the event.
No, I'm talking about just anything.
I'm talking about what I really want to pull for the audience right now that's watching is, what was a time that you lost an opportunity? Now, was there a feeling that you lost something here, changing the date of the convention? Help me tie it together, because I want to stay on taking the challenge of what was a time you lost an opportunity and how did it prepare you for now? So I love the event and I want to talk about the event later on tonight, but more so of like, was there a business opportunity? Was there a call? Was there something, a networking of business that you were involved with, something that you were involved with, there was an opportunity that you lost because you were like the man that was trying to buy the sheep, but you waited too long?
Well, that's a tough one because and I'm not just saying this, it's because literally I think I don't know that you ever lose an opportunity if you learn a lesson from it. Does that make sense?
Good way.
I mean, do we ever, but I can say that there's been plenty of times where I walked away saying, man, if I had known something going into that differently, the outcome would have been different. I mean, I could project that into many areas of my life, right? For example, So for example, my relationship with my father, man, I didn't realize what it was like to be a father till I became a father. And now looking back, I can see many opportunities that I missed to be close to my dad that if I could go back, I would definitely connect with him in the context of business. I mean, I guess to be totally honest, Anthony, just the question kind of puts me, I can say that that every time I've lost an opportunity, there is a extraordinarily valuable lesson that comes there, right? That translates it. So I kind of feel like I'm kind of trying to make stuff up at the same time.
Well, I mean, was there ever a phone call? Someone trying to get in touch with you. You didn't get back into them in 72 hours. They needed you for some reason. They found somebody else. Where that one opportunity, you missed that opportunity. It wasn't something that, remember, think about, guys, what we're doing in the sense of openly talking about these groups that we've created, right? And we have, people that want to be on the show and want to talk to us and have their stories told. And given the platform, right, we had to go through all this adversity. It didn't happen overnight,
right?
We're just not born this way. You have to be seasoned, right? Even a diamond, If you even look really, really close at a diamond, you still see some cracks, and it's not too perfect. So, moving forward from that, but this is something that we can really think about. I feel that is powerful. Is something you want to add?
Yeah, let me just circle on that.
Yeah, drop my pen.
Yeah, so I really do encourage that. Like, in other words, so let me just hone in there. One of the things that we practice is that you're already perfect, whole, and complete right now. That you have the holy grail of all experience available to you in this present moment, which is the experience of being alive. And that what we do is we engage in the belief of the illusion of I need to change myself, or there's needs to be some sort of I'm less than whole, perfect, and complete. And then we go out into the world and we try to change the beautiful experience of being alive, which is God given, and it's right here in this moment right now. So from that perspective, everything is a learning opportunity. So I would say there is plenty of times that I think that I could have learned more and maybe missed it. And I would say if there's any that if I look back in particularly in relationships in the past, friendships or business partnerships, I would say that if I've ever missed an opportunity, it's that I didn't fully absorb the information that was there that was there to learn and be able to effectively translate that into my life. But I don't know that I would be able to quantify that too much. Because honestly, when you're in the present moment and you're here and you're valuing like right now, I think that it just shifts your context, and that really is what it's about, right? I mean, Michelangelo was asked how he created David. He said, "I took a piece of marble and removed what wasn't David." And I would say that once you learn your lesson, you can get on the other side of it, and every lesson turns into an opportunity.
Right. And you hear these stories over and over again about, how people, let's just say, we were picking on what's it called, the book, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Imagine all those publishers that denied her, right? Oh, no, 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 no. And then look at her now. They missed that opportunity.
Right.
You know what I mean? That they had the opportunity of luck right in front of them. And that's where I really want to pull out, and here on the round table, we really want to inspire, connect, and educate, and we want to keep it real and authentic, because everything that we do here is intentional. And Mike, you were saying some very powerful things, about that we are perfect and complete, but the reality of it is a lot of us don't feel that way. And so I can say, Mike, you're perfect and complete, but if I don't think that way, then I really got to figure out how I'm going to be able to climb out of this, because sometimes people feel that they're alone. Jerome, when you were, transitioning, right? You transitioned as a business owner, and you and I, we met in 2011, where we were working together in different, states and cities, but same system. Did you feel that along the way, those opportunities prepared you for now? And if so, how?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a lot of those opportunities prepared me for now, and you know this perfectly well. Like the whole system that we had to build a team, right? And we had to like recruit people, build a team. And I remember being at a point where I had, I'd say 8 people on my team, and I'm like, oh man, this is it. It's time to get promoted. I'm gonna grow. And in a matter of like 3 days, those 8 people just disintegrated, like completely was gone. Like they wouldn't even pick up my phone calls, how bad it was. So those moments have prepared me for now, one, how to deal with disappointment faster, quicker, easier, and then also how to set an expectation for a team when I am building a team, how to set the expectation, how to expect what I want from them, how to inspect what I expect from them, all those things that I didn't know. I just had 8 people that were sitting around me and I was calling them a team, but I wasn't a true leader to those 8 people. I was just like, there's 8 people around me. I have a team of 8. But I wasn't a coach. I wasn't teaching them. And it was, it's probably better off that they left, because it's like, this guy's a joke. He has no idea what he's doing. And losing them and consistently losing teams over time taught me what it took to retain somebody and really educate somebody and really get somebody good at sales and really get somebody good at the recruiting piece and doing it over and over again. So that's the things that really prepared me for now. So when I sit down with someone or I'm trying to coach someone and I say, hey, this is how you should build your team, or this is how you should think about recruiting, I know it from a standpoint of being it, feeling the disappointment of it over and over, and then also building on top of that as well. So I did it. I felt the bottom, and I've also felt the top of this. I can show you how to do this properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, what do you feel about that?
It feels good. It feels good, man. I mean, give me reframe the question for me, Anthony.
So, we're talking about like missed opportunities, and Jerome was, kind of talking about how the system, allowed us to have a team around us.
Yeah.
But when people that we're supposed to lead, when are like trusting us, were we really ready for that moment to lead? And I think what stood for me too, Jerome, is that a lot of times in organizations, people become members way too quick. Like, there's no second place anymore. There's no losers. There's no hazing or real initiation process, right?
Yeah.
I think that you want to be a part of it. Okay, great. Just come with me. And we're just taking everybody. But the reality is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So are we really giving that membership title too quick?
Funny you say that, and no mean to cut you off, but my manager at the time, when I told him, I was like, yo, my whole team just went away in like 3-4 days, and he's like, give me a high five, man. That's how this shit gets started. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I was ready, so he really told me like that hazing process. He said, he's like, this is a part of it. He's like, to learn how to actually have a team, you got to lose a team to see what it feels like to then go and actually build a team the right way. And that him telling me that almost gave me a mindset shift. And like, oh, losing is winning. Like, you just have to keep losing frequently to actually learn how to win fast. So after that, I took a mindset shift, and I was just like, all right, the more people I put on my team and the more people I lose, the faster I learn. The faster I learn. The faster I learn, the better everything will grow. So that was like a big mindset shift for me. But that feeling of losing that 8 people team does suck so much. Oh my God, it sucks so much.
Well, thank you for that, Jerome. That's what I would. Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. So what I want to pull out from you is like building True Living, and now you're building this summit from where you were to where you are, right? How was it just building that team structure?
It's been incredible, man. I'm working with the most amazing people in the world. And I think what works is exactly what we hit on, that like we're committed to recognizing that, oh, is that a problem? Nope, it's not a problem. Nope, not a problem. Is that a problem? Nope, it's not a problem. Just like Jerome was just saying, and you flip it and you flip it and you flip it and you flip it. You flip it and you flip it. And I think that is a way of being on a team works. It just works. You're not trying to make anybody right or wrong. You're not trying to be better than anybody else. It's just everybody is working towards creating a system. I think one of the things that, so if we were to talk about a team, what works and what doesn't work. One is everybody's got to be responsible for their slice, and everybody's got to know what slice they're responsible for. And that slice should be tied back to some sort of key metric, right? That they could be responsible for. And when it comes to being responsible for that slice, they get, we ask that person. And I think that's important. I think where we talk a lot about agreement in True Living, we have this thing, when you're working on a team, there's 4 elements: time, energy, and your health and lifestyle, right? Agreement, which is the conversation that we have in money. And those we kind of build a system around there. I think agreement on teams is most important. What is the definition of what your role is versus somebody else's role? Who are you? What are you responsible for, and what aren't you responsible for? And how does that integrate into the system that you're building? The other thing that I think is really important is gamifying the process. It should feel like a game, and it should be fun. I mean, anytime somebody, and it should, And collectively, the agreement of the team should be that everybody has the same conversation and the same direction. And that when somebody's having a breakdown, you address it with that same conversation that I brought in there earlier, Anthony. Like let me just be totally blunt, right? The way that our brain works is when we go, yeah, you create a neurosynaptic pattern there. If we go, let's look for the problem, and we go, yeah, there's the problem. Yeah, there's the problem. You're driving that into your neurosystem. You're driving that into your brain. So you've got to literally say, oh, there's oh, yeah, that's positive. Like finding a solution, you've got to give yourself that hit of, yeah, that worked, so that it directs your brain towards actions that are gonna work. I tell my internal team all the time, listen, don't bring a problem to me that you don't have a solution for. Don't just ask questions that just expand to the point of uncertainty. Let's look at what we need. There's different stages. We can bring awareness to something that might not work. And we use works or doesn't work. We don't use right and wrong. That's a moral conversation that implies opinion. It either works or doesn't work based on the agreed outcome. And if we've got a metric that works for the agreed outcome, then we want to make things work and not work. But we really want to come from that space of everyone is perfect, whole, and complete at the level of their being. What's there for them to learn, what actions they need to take that's going to drive the ball and business forward, drive the team forward. And we're committed that everybody has the opportunity to learn. And if you're suffering, it's a learning opportunity, and we just have to remember that, and we're on the other side of it.
I think that you said so many cool things right now, just in regards to like being a team player and the anchors that you use. And it's so important. I think this year, the term was like pro vocabulary. I think Tony Dreammaker was using that phrase the other day, and I was just like taken back by it. And I couldn't agree with you more. Right now we're going to the time of the night where we're going into our final thoughts. And gentlemen, I really appreciate your time. I was really present, and I heard a lot of key things. I think what I heard most about tonight was about mindset, and sometimes you do have to take a step back to go to a step forward. And just like Jerome pointed out, losing is winning. But I want to give you guys the time to just kind of give our watchers just a final thoughts. And if you want to plug in your groups, and if you want to invite anybody that's watching on, please feel free.
Who wants to go first?
Well, Jerome.
All right. So the final thoughts, and this is something that I wish someone would have told me. I mean, people did tell me, but I didn't really resonate with me. Build and continue to keep on building and stay persistent, right? It's one step at a time. You take every step at your own pace, right? You can be on step 5, somebody could be on step 15. Like, just take your step and continue to build off of that. So for me, when I was younger, I wanted everything right away. I wanted to build my business. As soon as I started it, I wanted to be rich. As soon as I did anything, I wanted to build a team. If I build a team, I wanted to like be on the next level. Just take your time, be patient. Like, life is short, but it's also very long, and the day-to-day parts of it are very, very long as well. So take your time, build consistently. It's better to be consistent than to run a fast race. It's better to get up the steps when you get up the steps versus trying to blast up the steps and run out of air halfway through. So just build consistently, take your time, and build up the way that you are supposed to be, because you're running your own race. You're not running against anybody else. And that's something I wish I would have heard more. And maybe I did hear it, but I just wasn't in the right mind frame. So that's something that I always want to push on to anyone who's starting or doing anything. We came out of a turbulent year last year for a lot of people, but just take each day and each step to building whatever it is. So if you're in school, if you're starting a business, if you're a stay-at-home mom, just take it one step at a time. Your kids are gonna get older day by day, not year by year. So that's one of the biggest things I wish I would have heard, and that's the message I just want to keep on pushing to everybody else.
Yeah, I second that. That's a beautiful message, Jerome. So yeah, and I would say, it's my grandmother used to say, life is a trial by the mile and a cinch by the inch, right? And if you just continue to take that next step, you're going to get there. You can go far think about laying down your foundation, then take actions. And if you lay the foundation and the actions, you're going to get the result that you're looking for. And I think my final thought is that, suffering in life is optional. Pain may be there, but suffering is optional. And if you get your mindset right, then you're going to make more decisions, because when your mindset isn't right, you're not making the decisions that are going to lead to the result that you're looking for. And you owe it to yourself to do that. If you're spending time in a suffering state, reach out to somebody that's going to help you, a coach, a mentor, somebody that's done it before, so that, because your decision-making process is what produces the actions, and the actions are what produce what you have right now in your life. So that's really the journey to success, taking the next step, and doing it, and have fun, right? Life is supposed to be fun. Don't take it so seriously.
Fun. Have fun. And we have fun putting these together. Every show, we learn something different, and there's always a little bit of adversity behind it, and it's okay, but just have fun. And as we're ending our night tonight, we're going to end on a final quote, and the quote of the night is, ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better. And this is by Samuel Beckett. Go in grace, go in peace. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. Again, this is the Roundtable Remedy. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Peace.
Peace.